Curious George goes to a costume party. George, said the man with the yellow hat, Aunt Harriet has just invited us to a party. It sounds like fun. Let's go. So off they went in their little blue car. Aunt Harriet lived in an old house with many rooms and a large attic. Hello, George, she said. I'm so glad you could come. The other guests will be here soon. But where is your costume? I must have forgotten to tell your friend that we're having a costume party. Since you don't have one, maybe you can make one up. There's lots of things upstairs. George, said the man, I'll just use my hat as a costume. You go up to the attic, but don't get into trouble. George went upstairs. The attic was full of old furniture, a mirror, and boxes full of old clothes. George looked into one of the boxes. There was an old fireman's hat. George put it on and looked in the mirror. But the hat was too big for him. In another box was a sailor's suit. George tried it on. Too big again. The doorbell rang downstairs. The guests must be arriving. George had to find a costume in a hurry. On top of an old dresser was a lot of white cloth. What could that be? George was curious. He reached up and pulled at it. He pulled and pulled and pulled. Finally, the sheet came off the dresser, and with it came the old lamp. The lamp hit the floor and broke into 100 pieces. Now George was all wrapped up. The more he tried to get out, the more wrapped up he became. He looked into the mirror, but he could hardly see through the sheet. Then he heard some voices coming from downstairs. Did you hear a crash upstairs? Someone asked. What was that noise? I hope nothing has happened to George, said Aunt Harriet. George was scared. He ran down the stairs and kept running. The big white sheet floated behind him. Look, someone shouted. There's a ghost flying through the room. It's really scary, said an old lady. No, it's fun. I love ghosts, yelled a guest. The faster George ran, the spookier it looked. But he tripped on the rug and flew through the air. Now he was trapped. Stand back, everyone, said Aunt Harriet. Let me take care of this. Well, George, she said, you certainly gave us a good scare coming dressed as a ghost. George, said the man with the yellow hat, what are you going to do about the broken lamp? Don't mind the lamp, George, said Aunt Harriet. I never did like it. You've made up for it by making my party a big success. He should win first prize, someone shouted. When the party was over, they got into their little blue car and drove back home.